Hello, welcome to the THC Show. I'm your host, Neil Magnuson. This is the show where we talk about truth, hope, and change in the hopes of getting some change as a result of the truth, and we have some hope that we can get that. We've been working on it for a while. In fact, on the show today we have 8 out of 10 Glenn from CannaMatch.ca, as always, for the 420 session. Glenn's become somewhat of a co-host of mine, it seems, on the show, which is awesome. I think we're going to have an interview with a young lady who's had her journey with fentanyl and hard drugs, and we'll find out a little bit more when that happens a little later on in the show. But this is a bit of a special show today. It's not just the first show after 150, which is pretty cool, you know, show number 151, but this is the show that marks the 3rd year of our doing the THC show, which is really hard to believe. It's a bit surreal that 3 years could come and go like that, but it has, and it's been my privilege to have the opportunity to be able to take advantage of this platform and get things off my chest, which definitely reside there unless I get them off, and I'm not happy about them at all. And so this show has allowed me to be at least able to feel like I am saying something. It's being recorded, people can watch it, and maybe some good will come of it. Because goodness knows we still need a lot of good to happen in this world to get us on the track or get us to where we really should be headed as a species here. It's been a very troubling last couple of years especially, but all 3 years of the THC show have been involved in trying to obtain permission from public servants to be able to access cannabis in a reasonable way, which would include affordable prices, low barriers, and cannabis in all of its different potencies as well. Because in our case, with our particular journey, we've been trying to help people get off of the hard drugs, and to do that, it takes high-dose edibles and high-dose cannabis concentrates. And there's just no way around that with respect to what we're doing here. So that journey is still not complete, strangely enough. I guess we started the show just before there was actual legalization in Canada, just like we started our program long before there was legalization in Canada. And so what we hoped is that the government would recognize the good work that we were doing, the value in what we were offering as part of the solution to the opioid crisis, and that they would get behind us and allow us to occupy a storefront and bring our program some dignity and respect here and in the other chapters of the Cannabis Substitution Program and in all areas of Canada where low barrier access to cannabis would save lives and help people get their lives back. But here we are 3 years into the show, and we still haven't achieved that at all. We've been on this block for 2 years and 2.5 months since we opened up here in a storefront in good faith because the city said that they would support us. But in fact, it turned out that the federal government had to be the ones supporting us, and that is just what has not happened. We do have support from all levels. Certainly the community around us supports us very well. We get a lot of feedback from the people in the neighborhood, and they are very, very happy that we're here, and they would be somewhat devastated if we weren't. And they, like us, are very confused and bewildered by why we're having the struggles that we're having. So we've dispensed in the 2 years and 2.5 months that we've been here somewhere around 8 million milligrams of cannabis high-dose edibles. In the 3.5 years before we were on this block, we were 1 block over and 1 block up on Hastings Street at Vandu, and we dispensed 3 or 4 million milligrams of cannabis during the 3.5 years that we were there. These are huge numbers. And what they mean is that there are trackable statistics and results. There's outcomes as a result of having put that much into the community. And we have been tracking many of those outcomes, and we have been gathering statistics. And Dr. M.J. Malloy with his researchers did the same for a time period at Vandu. And all of it is that we're really helping things big time here. That this is without any question, this is the best harm reduction measure that there is. This is the real safe supply that should be available to people. all things should be in a safe supply. That's the whole idea of government and regulations. When citizens have demands for certain things and other citizens want to supply those demands, if there's issues and problems, well, then regulations need to come into play to safeguard those things, to make sure that the supply is safe. And if that's what was going on, if the government was responding to the marketplace, responding to the desires and the needs of their citizens, they would have some place where there was a safe supply of whatever substances are there to be had that people are demanding to have. If they had cannabis high-dose edibles readily available, easy available in lots of different storefronts, that would be the option that most people would choose. Most people are not looking to get themselves addicted to opioids. They're not looking to get into that relationship with crack cocaine or crystal meth or those other things. For the most part, people are just trying to deal with their issues. They're trying to feel better. They're trying to feel good. That's why human beings and other animals on the planet look to different plants and substances to try to achieve that. So if cannabis was easily and readily available, most people would not be going into the crack store or into the heroin store and saying, this is what I need. Some people would. And then there'd be some sort of questionnaire. There would be some sort of a process so that before that person is dispensed that substance, they are made very aware of the properties of that substance. That's not hard to do in a fairly short period of time with trained professionals. And then if they still think that's what they need to have, then if they're full-grown consenting adults, then they should be dispensed that product without making it so difficult that nobody would go there, that everybody's going to go to the dealer down the street behind the dumpster in the basement suite or whatever. They need to make it available so that that marketplace is put out of business. Because those substances that do have issues, where there are problems that you need to understand before you start using these things, and once you start using them, then those substances need to be not available in basement suites and behind dumpsters and, underneath people's trench coats and things like that. Those substances have those potentials to be dangerous. They need to be regulated in a way that keeps people going to the regulated sources for them. And that is the role of government, is to understand those dynamics of what it is that people are going to get, no matter what. That's what they're going to get for whatever reason, and those reasons are their reasons. But the government's role is to make sure that all of those people are properly educated before they get it dispensed to them. And then that they get it dispensed to them in safe and reasonable ways that make it so they're not going to go and get it in the underground marketplace, because that's where those substances become way, way more dangerous. And so that's what we've been doing here with the Cannabis Substitution Program. That is our goal, and always has been, is to make it as easy as possible for people to access high-dose cannabis edibles. Because cannabis high-dose edibles not just offset and mitigate the circumstances of using those other hard drugs, especially the opioids, but it can get you through the withdrawal. And that's the most important component. That is the most powerful thing. That is what needs to be shouted from rooftops loud and clear across this country, is that cannabis high-dose edibles have the power and the potential to get a person through withdrawal and get them off those drugs that they've been hooked on because of irresponsible doctors, greedy pharmaceutical companies, and government that are really delinquent in doing what they're supposed to do in protecting people from properties and substances that have properties like that. So we have been doing that, providing this option for people in plain sight, with signs up. I don't know if I want to say blatantly, because our idea was never to really rub the nose of the authorities into what we're doing and say, na, we're going to do this no matter what the law says. But doing it openly, above board, trying to get the support of all levels of government and all people involved in this right from the beginning. And yet, here the government has not done their job in supporting what we're doing. It should have been easy and fast. By the time there was legalization, and by the time we were told that we needed to have licenses from federal government, from Health Canada, before we could get a license from the city and operate as a store, before any of that happened, there was nothing to apply for. There was no, it was just the right thing to do. So that's what we did. And like I say, over all that time, what we've demonstrated clearly, 300 times we were at Vandu. We've been here for over 730 days on this block, providing this service for people. There's never been a complaint. No one's ever been harmed. And yet hundreds and hundreds of people swear that because of us being here and cannabis being easily available in the form of high-dose edibles, that they're clean from the hard drugs. And so that should really get government here in a hurry to check us out, to see if it's true. And if so, well, my goodness, what kind of supports can they give us? They should be wondering how they can support us, not wondering how they can not support us. But this is the world that we're living in. It's unfortunate. It's not what I thought was going to happen here. I knew there'd be a little bit of resistance because what we're proposing here really does go against the Cannabis Act, and it goes against the cartel's monopoly, for sure. But I didn't think it was going to be all this many years later, and here we are still just waiting for a federal government that obviously is not concerned at all about making our program work and supporting it. They're spending great amounts of money and time and people power to try to figure out how to keep us from being able to do what we're doing. It is really a real exercise in corruption and exposing corruption. It's been very disgusting to find out that that's where our governments are, that all these other levels of government are unwilling to stand up and do much in the face of a federal government that for some reason they're afraid of. I guess the federal government has got a lot of money and got a lot of power. I see that Alberta at this point, and their current premier, and running again to be premier again, is not shy at all about saying that they need to bring in legislation that would sever some powers from Ottawa so that they don't have to do what Ottawa says when it's not in the best interests of Albertans. And I'll tell you, BC needs to do the same thing. We're way the hell over here on the other side of the Rocky Mountains even. Ottawa doesn't have a clue. They never come here to check shit out. They just tell us what we can and cannot do. And I think we need to be a lot less afraid of those people. I think our municipal government needs to stand up and say, this is what our city needs. We support it and demand that we get whatever it is that we need in the form of a piece of paper with a signature on it from Ottawa. I think the provincial government needs to step forward and decide that what this is going on here is a very good thing. It's a BC-based initiative that's traveled across the country, that has saved hundreds and hundreds of people, and the provincial government needs to say something more than they have in support of what we're doing here. We haven't had any resistance from any of those levels of governments. We've had tacit support. Just like we had tacit support from the VPD. Because I presented this idea to them before it was ever a reality. I took my lawyer to the Vancouver Police board. I explained to them all about what we were going to do in making cannabis edibles as easy as possible for people to access. And I got a handshake. I got some nice comments. Didn't get any pushback from them. 300 times we were at Vandu with a lineup right around the block giving out bags of high-dose cannabis edibles and weed to people. Never once did the VPD come there and give us any grief. Here as well. We'd been here for almost 2 years before this raid in May. Now, we were raided by the anti-vending squad 2 weeks after we moved into the RV because we couldn't stay in the store. But that was just a random action by the cops that roam these particular blocks and try to deal with people that are selling stuff that shouldn't be. That never went any farther than that. We were never charged. We were back an hour later still doing what we were doing from the RV, and it was a full plus, a year and a half plus after that before this raid that happened in May. But here we are, the VPD, deciding on their own that there's people selling cannabis out of an RV here on the street. They're there every day, all day. They reported that. Some of the officers reported that to the brass upstairs, and the brass upstairs doesn't even look like they consulted with Ottawa. because they really interfered with the negotiations that were happening between us and Ottawa. In fact, we were 2 weeks into a 30-day time period to be able to respond properly to Health Canada, and because the VPD raided us, that got extended for another 100 days. So this was not on the orders of Health Canada. This was just a local city police department deciding at the upper levels that, yeah, they better enforce the Cannabis Act and look like they're doing their job. And so they came here and arrested us and seized our RV, which didn't stop us, of course. We simply put up a tent the very next day, and for 8 hours a day, for 7 days a week after that, we were there under our tent, waving at the VPD as they were driving by, having conversations every chance we got with them, wondering why the hell they would do what they did. And it turns out that's why they did it. Just doing their job, you know, like a good little Nazi, just doing their job. Not smart enough to have an actual investigation into what we were doing here. They weren't smart enough to do that. They didn't. That's not how they investigated us. They used the old police tactic of investigation, which is to set up surveillance and send in undercovers. And 6 months they did that to try to figure out if we were making cannabis available to people here. Duh. What a waste of tax dollars that is. They should be ashamed of themselves. So tomorrow is our big court date. And if you're anywhere near Vancouver, or if you know people near Vancouver, please come, or tell your friends to come, or ask them to come. It's a great spectacle of corruption that's unfolding right before our eyes. You can get to be a part of it. We could use support. Last time we were in court, the first appearance was us three, the three CSP members that are before the courts now on this, standing before a judge and not being able to say anything because all the conversation was happening between the judge and two TV screens with our lawyer from Toronto and some student representing the Crown on another TV screen. And nobody wants to listen to what we have to say about this is nonsense. This is a criminal misuse of public funds. They just want to set another date. And set another date they did. And it's coming up tomorrow. And tomorrow we're going to go in there and they're going to set another date. Because sanity will not prevail yet. There has been no motion or movement by the Crown to withdraw those charges, although maybe tomorrow. Maybe tomorrow. Aha, 419. 419 means you got 1 minute to get them rolled up and get puffing on the magical vapors. It means that I got 1 minute to finish talking about what I'm talking about before Mr. Wells comes and joins us for the 420 session on this very special 3-year anniversary of the show. And so yeah, there's not much else to wrap up, I guess. You know, we're going to continue to see what happens with this tomorrow. And like I say, if you can come out, that would be awesome. It was really quite good last week when we were finished not talking to the judge, when I stood up and we all, like half the courtroom got up and we all walked out at the same time. I thought that was a good statement that we made there. So let's have a real good group at the courthouse again tomorrow morning. We'll have a little session 8:30 before we go in, 222 Main Street in Vancouver. And that probably brings us pretty close to Glenn Wells, who saw in your memory coming up today that it was 3 years ago that you were on your first THC show.
Yeah.
So 3 years
week.
it is. And
yeah,
I see
3 years this week.
And you brought me this.
Yeah, I did.
Isn't that nice? He knows I like cats, but he got me a dog anyway.
Well, you know, you've got to be fair to the other
I guess,
animals,
you know,
right?
keep life in balance.
Yeah.
Could have got me a crocodile. and he says in here, he says, well, you said no cake, and maybe I did. We could go back and watch watch last week's show to see if I actually said no cake.
No,
I thought
talking.
Oh, it was just personal.
It wasn't on video. Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes, yeah.
And I didn't. I might have.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
to me, it was that I didn't say no cake. I just said I'm probably not having any. I'm not.
weren't eating sweets.
I'm really trying to. Yeah, I got to report to the doctors on what I'm eating every day, and so I'm not sure I want to put a whole bunch of cake on there, or in there for that matter. But we'll see. We'll see. Life is funny, and it's a cruel joke.
Yeah.
Anyway, so here's a card. Thank you for pointing that out.
Yeah.
To show you how much I appreciate you, and for the last 3 years on the show. Well, thank you very much, Glenn. I appreciate you too. Here's to our fourth year of starting. I guess right now, if you saw one that said that this was the third today, so that's
and then I'm gonna play the song. Okay.
You gonna play a song?
Yeah.
Happy birthday or happy anniversary?
Happy anniversary, happy anniversary. For a cheerful toast and Phyllis, happy anniversary. Brownsville is happy anniversary. Oh, happy
There's no
anniversary.
copyright stuff going on here.
No, it's you too. Just happy anniversary. All right, we'll stop it.
Man, you
Producer's
remembered.
getting. Anyways, yeah. So happy anniversary.
And
Oh, yes. And you said Mr. Wells. We got two Mr. Wells in the house
you
today.
do. Your son's here.
Yeah. And
Is he going to cut the cake for
I
us?
told him he'd have a piece of cake for going to get it. Come on here.
He might,
Well, that's not.
he might be camera shy.
Yeah.
I'm not sure you should force
You're not
anybody.
camera shy, are you?
I'm a little bit camera.
All right, he's a little bit camera shy.
I never like to force anybody. That's a beautiful looking cake. We sent him out at the last minute, you see, because Glenn didn't bring a cake.
Yeah, well, because
Of me.
Well, a discussion we had.
A discussion. Things I said.
A stoned discussion we had.
Things I
obviously.
said.
Yes. Well, I'm pretty good at listening to what you say. So
I know.
yeah.
You've been a very good right-hand man.
There you go. Thank you. And I appreciate the opportunity to be here every week too.
Well, without you, I'd be just me, and that wouldn't be no fun for you.
2 hours of you? Oh my! I'm sure there's people out there who would appreciate 2 hours of you. You could sing every show. That would kill some time.
Kill some viewers. I don't even have the voice I used to have.
No? Oh,
I don't think so.
Well, you mean
I don't know.
you don't know?
Sometimes it's okay. I don't know. I'm a big critic, I guess, of myself.
Yeah, well, I think we all are big critics of ourselves.
So what are we smoking now? What is this? You brought this.
You're smoking garlic cane.
Garlic cane.
All one word. It's a 80%.
So like slurricane, but garlic cane.
Garlic cane, yeah.
Garlic cane.
It is a 80% indica, 20% sativa, and it's about 23 to 29% THC, depending on who grows it.
I see. And is there who grew this one?
A local friend.
Oh, okay. It's not somebody looking for promotion. It's just somebody.
Yeah.
Somebody sent me some weed to smoke. Thank you very much.
I buy it right for me to smoke.
Well, you're the friend that brought it to me.
I bought it from a friend, and then I bring it to you. Yes,
I see. Well, thank
that's
you,
exactly it. Yep.
Wow. That's very nice of you.
Well, hey, I bring some Neil too.
So
you guys got to be stoned too. And I'm not just going to smoke it by myself.
So what you're saying is you need to bring weed here because you wouldn't be having fun if it was just Neil and I and we weren't high.
No. I just
so
bring
if we're not high, you're not having fun.
I bring weed here because it's something you probably have not smoked before, and I have access to it.
Right.
So I like to bring a bud of something different that you probably haven't smoked.
You're just a nice guy then.
That's it. And then, yeah.
So
you remember the person. Hey, that guy brought that nice bud.
That's right. Remember that garlic cane?
Yeah.
I had bad breath for days after that. When you're smoking this weed and you're with a girl, you need to make sure the girl's smoking the same weed so you don't.
My son, do you want a joint? Do you want?
Sure, I guess, yeah.
All right, it's got shatter in it.
Oh,
There you go.
And almost shattered.
Oh.
It almost shattered.
It does, yeah. It almost
So
shattered.
there's things to talk about.
Yeah.
I'm taking a little bit more relaxed attitude right now. This is the 3rd anniversary show, so I can relax a little bit.
Yeah.
Is that true?
You can.
Or do I have to work harder?
No.
Probably.
No.
I don't know.
I think, yeah, maybe.
Can I just rest on my laurels now? Did you see where I put them, by the way? I had them.
No.
The laurels?
I think
Anybody
you
got
put
my
them
laurels?
Under L in the filing
Anybody got my laurels? I can rest on my laurels. Put one behind my head. Yeah, there's things to talk about. There's always stuff to talk about in this crazy world we live in.
Well, we've got the strike happening here. We could talk about that, right? Because
The government workers need more money.
The BCGEU.
We don't have any more money, but they need some. And they include the cannabis people to some degree. They do all the
liquor
processing of such things. So it could be that your government store is out of weed at some point coming up.
Or out of your favorite weed. And they'll have to wait until it gets delivered.
I mean, already they got some picket signs and lines up in front of liquor stores.
Mm-hmm.
Could be coming to a cannabis store near you.
Could be.
That's how it rolls when you're dealing with a government cartel for your weed.
Wow.
They just had this problem in Ontario.
Like I was saying to you
Computers
earlier.
went down. People couldn't order.
Strike in Quebec.
Strike in Quebec.
Wow. See,
Are you still not...
if you went to your local dealer, you would never have to put up with any of that crap. He doesn't have a staff that's going to go on strike on him.
Sometimes you have to put up with some other crap. It depends on your dealer, There have been issues in the underground marketplace from time to time.
Of course.
But, yeah, you know, it's just so ridiculous. The government is going to spend a whack of your money and hire a whole bunch of guys with guns that are bullies and tough-looking intimidators to make sure that you don't get any other sources of cannabis if the government can't provide it. How about that, eh? You know, you would think if they're going to force their monopoly on you, you would at least think that they would, you know, give you a little bit of a break.
Yeah.
You know, if they can't do it, you know, I can't get it today. You go down to see Jimmy, right?
Could you see them doing that, man?
Oh, man.
Oh, no.
You know, maybe it'll be a long strike. Maybe they'll have to put out a thing. They'll put out a notice on the government cannabis stores. Until further notice, please feel free to use the black market for. During this time, we won't be arresting your friends that are selling you weed.
It's only possession, and possession is now illegal. So,
It is.
Make sure you don't buy more than 30 grams from your buddy.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right. Keep it to that limit there.
And if you have any of those old containers,
Well, you don't have enough room in your trunk for any more.
Put the weed inside the old containers that we sold you, right?
Sure.
Yeah.
I was just going to say you don't have any more room in your trunk because of all the whiskey bottles and tobacco that you can have in there.
Yeah.
And you might only have room for a little 30-gram bag of weed. Anyway.
I know where a good place for a 30-gram bag of weed is. Right down here.
Yeah. Well, I'd like to have Mr. Trudeau smuggle one across for me, and I can tell him where he can put it. I'll tell you. Wow.
That was the old good stuff spot, man.
Isn't legalization fun? Are you people all really enjoying it?
Oh.
I guess that would depend, eh?
I guess.
It would depend on whether or not you were somebody that lived in a remote area of Canada, or who knows where else. But let's talk about Canada. So you're living in a remote area of Canada. I've been there.
Mm-hmm.
You know they spend like $60, $70 on an eighth of ditchweed.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
Oh, yeah.
If they can get that.
Yeah.
Half the time you can't get anything in those small towns.
Yeah.
Because even though most of the people in those small...
About mail order?
Well, this is before mail order.
Oh, okay.
This is back in the day when I was on the Freedom Tour.
Yeah.
That's what would happen. And so everybody now, they have some mail orders, so that's better for sure. But the mail orders, none of it's cheap, none of it's low barrier. It's all those same prohibition prices. It's, you know, you might get a $5 gram, but it's not going to be very good. No,
but there are some deals like Interior Cannabis Collector is pretty good. The THC Herbalist is pretty good. So we should put together a list of the good ones. I think they're about $80 or $90 an ounce for those couple of places. So. And is it decent cannabis for that? Yeah. And do they have much more expensive cannabis? No, I think it's pretty reasonable price. I see. So they got a bunch of different cannabis. It's all sort of within that price range. I got show you. Well, that'd be good. We'll do a show on it one time and explore some of that. I was thinking, you know, we should have a place where people can go to a page and know that the ones that we put up there are trustworthy. Because there are some ones that are not trustworthy. Of course, the other big problem with that is a lot of people are not going to order online. No. You know, they won't. They're not going to put their name out there. They're not going to put their address out there. They don't want to be part of a database. There's just a lot of people that won't. There's also a lot of people that can't. Mm-hmm. That, you know, don't have a bank account with enough money in it to order, or don't have one at all in some cases, and numerous other reasons that they can't. So my point in all of this is that in some of these small towns and out of the way places where they never had good access to cannabis at all, it was crappy cannabis for way too much money in the first place. Now they've got a government store. Well, it might even be better cannabis for a better price than what they were paying before in some of these places. You think so? And I've had people in some of these small towns contact me and say, look, man, I got a government store here I can walk into and buy weed at. Yeah. And it's not much more expensive than it ever was before, if at all. And so what's the problem? I sent you a picture, didn't I, of Mario and... yeah, right. Yeah, and they have a store in Ontario, and they're wearing the CSP sweaters. I seen that, saw that, right? And then what did that sign say in the corner? Yeah, I think it said $50 ounces. $80 ounces. $80 ounces. $80 ounces, right? Yeah, so the government is trying to do something, but there's probably that's just the crap that they couldn't get rid of. You know. Well, are they legal? Is Mario legal? I don't know. I don't think so. I didn't think that was a legal store going on there. Maybe, but I don't know. We'll have to find that out too. Oh, wow. There's things we need to know. So a lot of people in Canada, they've actually got better access now to probably better weed than they had before at probably better prices than they had before, because in the past they were paying $60 for an eighth of crap. Yeah. So $60 for an eighth is $480 for an ounce. Oh, that's crazy.
You understand? Like, we're talking several $1,000s for a pound.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
So, and for crappy weed at that, right? That was prohibition. That's not how it's supposed to be. You know, just because BC had good weed and lots of it doesn't mean that every town shouldn't have good weed and lots of it. It's not hard to produce. It's only hard to produce when prohibition and stigmatization are in place. When the government is restricting access, restricting growers, and the stigmatization is still there, like it is to do with cannabis. Thank you very much, Mr. Trudeau. But it's still not safe for people to let the community know that they're using cannabis. It's still not safe for people to let their workplace know that they use cannabis, even on the weekends or whatever. You're fine to go and drink. You're fine to go and do cocaine because nobody can know. They can't even test you for that properly. But, you know, cannabis, it's still the big no-no.
It is.
So, you know, this is not proper legalization. Legalization would come with the stigmatization gone, any type of record that anybody had gone, a real good apology for the powers that be for what they did to us for 100 years. Holy crap. Over a plant that never hurts anybody, and obviously, as you can see, helps a lot of people.
All those weekends I did in Mimico.
Oh, man.
God, man. 90 days weekends, 90 days weekends, 90
the
days
cops
weekends.
toss my house, throw me in jail, you know, over and over stories, you know, beaten up in fucking Vernon, you know, beaten up here in Vancouver at a Cannabis Day event, you know, all over weed. It's and that's nothing, man. I know there's people out there watching this show. They're saying, "You kidding me? I did hard time. I did a long time."
Yeah.
But he's dead. You know, prohibition is one of the worst things that's ever fucking happened here. And here we are, we're still in it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's why we're not happy here in Canada about legalization.
Alcohol prohibition, right?
You know,
let's just do it to cannabis.
You know, they learn shit all right. And I think that they learned that they like prohibition. They like to have something prohibited. They like to have the dollars that flow into that from, you know, the different sources that they have. They like being able to go and roust people and go into their homes and steal their shit. You know, seize your properties. This is a moneymaker for cops and government. It has been for a long time. It's a control thing for government that's been going on for a long time. It's all simply corrupt, because if they were really willing to let the truth be out there, this plant should be encouraged. The use should be subsidized. It should be paid for under medical. It should be espoused for all of the wonderful things that it can be used for. We should be using it for building materials.
Big story.
On and on and on. And yet this is the best example going of just how corrupt things are, is that this plant, which is like one of the most beneficial and valuable plants on the planet, is still being stifled, prohibited, restricted, and all of that, just in the name of protecting other interests and big money. It's a real story.
All about money.
All about money. So we got this cake sitting here.
Well, we have a cake, yeah.
I've got a guest coming on the show. Do you want a piece of cake?
You do.
Before I kick you out and put the guest in your chair?
Yeah.
How can we do that?
I don't know. We need a knife.
Maybe somebody could find me a couple of plates over there to your right and about shoulder height, a little farther. A little farther. No, not necessarily those ones, but the ones... although those ones are fine too. Sure, why not?
So I'm getting kicked out already?
Oh, soon.
My gosh. That's all right. I know. It doesn't
well, you know...
Hey, that's...
And no, you're not. You're not, because the guest isn't coming quite yet. I just was preparing you for that.
Oh, yeah, okay.
I was going to make sure we had a piece of cake before you go.
The guest is not here yet?
I'm not saying nothing about nothing.
All right.
I'm not saying nothing. There will be a guest.
Fred Bell is saying hi to you.
All right, Fred. Love you, buddy. You're one of the funniest guys I know.
I saw him this weekend.
Yeah,
we were hanging out, right?
I love his posts, man. He's so funny sometimes. Right? Yeah. I wish I could be funny like that. Yeah, I try to be funny, but I'm not really very funny.
Well, you're going to hang on with Mike Rita for a whole weekend. Maybe a little bit of
rub off. Yeah, 100%, eh?
Right?
So
I'm going to be there too.
Mike is going to be at 2 different events coming up here. I get to hang with him in the first one, and that's the Mom Cup. So the Mom Cup, for those who don't know, mail order marijuana. We were just talking about having a list of some sort of reputable, mail order marijuana places, because that is a way that people can get it. That is still a viable way, but it's really hard to know where to go and how to trust. For a lot of people, if they don't have a recommendation, or they'll just try a few and see.
And don't be fooled. There are government mail order spots too. All the stores have a place where you
They do, but they're not allowed to advertise anywhere.
You can either pick it up in the store or they can mail it to you.
Yeah, that's true.
So don't be fooled. Make sure
would those sites come off as looking like, Yeah,
I
don't know what they would look
they
like.
They do it. I guess like when I couldn't wear a mask and couldn't go into the store, they said, "Well, just look on the site and you can order it there."
Right.
So that's the only reason I know that. I've never.
So
actually
you want some cake,
it.
right? So you
Sure.
have a piece of cake?
I thought you were talking to a Neil. I think.
No.
Neil, you gonna have some cake?
There's only you and me and the viewer.
Well, the producer. You've talked to him before. They
Yeah,
know
they're always
here.
on a Zoom call, aren't they? These days.
Oh,
Is anybody really?
You're gonna need a spatula, or no? Is that a lifter?
Maybe.
Maybe.
We'll see. We'll test my cake cutting skills here.
Cake capabilities. Oh, you did it. Oh, thank you.
So that's a relatively small one. Do you want a bigger one than that?
Sure. There.
You will. That's about so we're not alone here.
Yeah.
Apparently there's a voice in the background.
Please share, Mary says. She wants some too.
Oh, yeah. I know, eh?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I couldn't share today because I'm kind of blocked until 6:02. So,
somebody got banned or blocked from Facebook for like 3 months for making a comment. On my show.
Oh, really?
On my show.
Wow. Wonder who did that.
Hey, guest in the room. Yeah. Eh?
Yes. I probably won't eat on camera. I'll eat this later.
Oh, is that right?
Well, maybe I'll try one piece. All right. Okay. I don't think they want to see me. I don't know.
Well, it all depends on how you eat. There's a sexy way to eat that's like it's seductive and all of that. I've not mastered that myself. If this cake was made out of fish, we'd have both cats up here.
That's pretty good cake.
I bought it myself.
You did. Well, with your money.
Oh man, life is so funny.
Sal needs some
cake.
Look
at it. You want some cake? You guys want cake? All right.
I'm going to eat my cake now.
You might want to have a better knife than that to just put them on the plate, but I'll leave that all up to you. We showed you how to do it. If you can do it, you can do it. So yeah, the Mum Cup is coming up. It's going to be coming up fast too. It's August 26th, 27th, 28th.
Not this weekend, the next weekend.
Right, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And like I say, Mike Reed is going to be there. Like you said, Mike Reed is going to be there. He's going to do his comedy stuff there. And there's also glass blowing. There's the Battle of the Bands. There's some risque entertainment for both the men and the women on altering nights there. So that might be fun.
That's $100.
$100 extra.
It goes for charity.
There's stuff. We can show you some stuff. Just a quick glance. There's going to be all kinds of cannabinoids at this place, I'm sure. There's this is a judge's kit here, so there's things to judge. Lots of them. I'm not going to get too much into it, but let's see. I already looked at this. Wasn't this the RSO? Yeah, or the distillate. So we got that there. That's nice, and there's like the other things in there, cards and things. Anyway.
And there's your judge's card.
Oh, there's two of these. Yeah, I already showed the judge's card there.
Okay.
Yeah. And should I just? I'm just going to do this. Yeah.
Wow.
So if you want to get high for a weekend, you can obtain one of these things.
Definitely.
I think if you want to attend the event and get a bag that has, cannabinoids, and it has actually a vape pen. There's edibles, a couple different edibles. More. This is more weed here. More edibles here. There's a joint there. There's seeds here. Cookies, rolling papers, other things.
A man called the professor said that joint in that bag is damn good.
I see.
Yeah.
And I thought there was a vape cartridge. I know there was.
Oh, there was. Yeah.
There was.
Right
there it is, right there as well.
Yeah.
So,
swag. Swag and your judge's kit. Yes.
Yeah. So there you go. That's what can happen there. So the Mom Cup coming up. I believe there's still tickets available. It's a camping. Yeah. It's a camping event. It's a first come, first serve with respect to the camping spots. Very family Well, in that there'll be people to look after your kids when you're doing stuff the kids can't be at, right?
Yeah,
So family friendly in that respect for sure.
You can bring your kids as long as you bring someone to watch your kids while you're in there. Yes,
the mom cup is always one of the funnest cups. That's a word they coined simply because of the mom cup. That's now a word because of the mom cup. It's funnest.
Oh yeah, funnest.
Yeah, funnest. It's the funnest cup.
It's the funnest cup.
I've heard that
So
before. Somebody told me that.
We have the funnest cup.
And right after that, we have the friendly cup.
Yeah.
Coming up the following weekend in Saskatoon. Always such a great time there in the prairies. The prairie people are famous for their hospitality. And so Mike Reed is also not only going to be there doing his comedy, he's going to host that one. Mm-hmm. So that's a coup for the Prairie Cup to have Mike do that. I can't imagine a better cup for sure. The Cannabis Olympics that have been going on at the Prairie Cup. This is their 10th year.
Yep.
In doing the Prairie Cup.
10th one, not
not consecutive because of COVID and other things that shut everything down.
Yes, yeah.
But it's the 10th Prairie Cup, and so they have the Cannabis Olympics have been so fun.
I know. I have a bronze medal.
Oh my god, yeah. I just remember Gibby and Redbeard with their hot flaming glass.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Wow, that was something else for sure. So I'm sure that'll be a great time there.
There'll be more of that, yeah.
And last I heard, which was last week, there was still sponsorship spots available for that and tickets available. And that's one you don't want to miss. And that's one of the best networking events that happens within the Cup system. There's been so many connections made at the Prairie Cups with people. That's probably partly why it's called the Friendly Cup, because there's that many connections made. People are having fun all the time, getting to know each other, and good business connections all over. So a couple of cups coming up.
Yeah.
There's the Karma Cup after that.
So we got 3 weekends in a row with a cup.
Yeah.
So if you haven't got anything to do for the next 3 weeks after this weekend,
I wonder if Mike Reed is going to be at the Karma Cup too.
I don't know.
He's from Toronto, heading that way.
Maybe he might be doing that thing with the Portuguese kids.
I don't know, Sarah. Tell me what's going on.
Yeah.
And then I can tell everybody what's going on. But check out the Karma Cup. Check out the Prairie Cup. Check out the Mom Cup. Tell all your friends and anybody that might be interested in going, because these things come and go fast, and they're memories that you'll never lose, and connections you'll never lose. It'll last a lifetime. So.
Yeah, it's a great time.
It's a great time.
I love it.
It's a great time. You did eat your cake.
Yeah, I did.
You gobbled that
did.
right
Well,
down.
you know what? When you just smoked a joint and then you have one piece of some chocolate cake with icing on it, or whipped cream and cherries, your mouth just says
no self-discipline whatsoever.
That's it. Yeah, I do, but not with cake. I'll admit that.
But not with cake.
No,
Obviously, me too.
Yeah. Even those McCain cakes, they used to get the deep and delicious. I can do one of those easily.
Okay.
That's no problem. I had to stop doing that. But in my younger days, I could put one of those away easily.
Wow, is that ever sweet?
It is
For me.
Oh, I
haven't been eating hardly any sweets for quite a while
it's
now.
a whipped cream icing, so you didn't get the real icing.
I even switched my smoothies from the sugar-based juice to water.
To water.
Why not?
It
still tastes like juice.
Still tastes like juice. Yeah, I do have the natural juice. There's sweetness from the juice.
Did you wake up?
And look at Kato's like, what the hell's going on with this rabbit?
Yeah, we're going to bring that guest on shortly here.
He's like sitting there watching him. He's probably put his head in there a couple of times. Right?
You're giving it all away.
Oh, well, that's all right. I have to.
Got one of these, Johnny B's.
There's no camera here. You're not going to interview a rabbit and a cat. So how am I giving it away?
What do you mean?
Oh, I don't know.
You didn't think that was my guest?
No, I know that's not your guest.
That's my guest.
No, okay.
That's my guest.
And who brought in the rabbit?
Well, there's
Elmer Fudd.
He's got a friend.
He's got a friend.
He's got a friend.
Okay.
The cruel world out there.
A wascally rabbit is your guest.
Man, now we've really given it away.
Yeah,
we will be having a rabbit on the show coming right up. The wascally wabbit.
How would I know that you were going to have a wabbit on the show?
I don't obviously tell him anything.
No. There was no note.
There was no indication.
No memo. Just something about cake.
All right. Well,
at least you had a couple pieces of it.
I had a couple bites.
Yeah. And you have some whipped cream on your mustache.
Oh, good.
Yeah, there you go.
As it should be.
Yeah. Okay.
As it should be.
I just don't want you to go through the show with these two white spots.
Why not? It would match my little milk spill
Well,
here.
yeah, it might. I care.
You're a good man, Glenn.
I care.
I'm glad I got you looking after me.
If I had spinach in my teeth, I'm sure you would tell me.
I would.
I don't eat spinach.
Only after the interview, though.
Only after the interview. I love you, man.
Well, I'm just trying to have fun.
Yeah.
That's all we're doing. All right. Well, thanks. We'll see you. We'll see you in the next incarnation, the fourth.
We'll see you next
the fourth
week.
year.
Yeah. And we'll see you tomorrow.
And we'll see you tomorrow.
We'll see you tomorrow
In
morning.
court.
I'll be here. Yep.
And we'll probably do a live stream tomorrow from the front of the courthouse before we go in, and maybe one afterwards as well. We typically do that to let everybody know what's going on with that. So you can join us there if you're not in Vancouver. But we'd sure love to have as many people there as possible. It's always a lot of fun if you have a whole bunch of people there that can kind of all, or half, a bunch of people going to the
And we're all
courthouse.
smoking joints as the lawyers are walking in and stuff like that.
So last time I brought joints for everybody.
Let's have a smoke.
We had a session. We will always.
Yeah.
That goes without saying. There will always be a session before we walk into a courthouse. But I had a joint in my pocket, and you have to go through the screening. We have to take things out and put them in the tray there. I took my joint out, put it in the tray. We all had a little chuckle about it, and they gave it back to me.
Yeah,
Not when I left court, but when I got to the end of the screening table, it's like, there you go, sir. There's all your stuff. Put it back in your pockets.
Yeah.
They didn't even say don't light that up.
Because they're only looking for metal things. You don't have to take out joints because when you walk through the scanner, it's only looking for metal.
Well, I wanted to put my joint in.
Yeah, I know. I didn't. What happened? You got your joint back, right?
Well, I did.
I had more joints than you.
I wanted to
and
test
I
the
just
system,
walked through it.
Yeah.
Yeah. They could have said, "Don't smoke this in here."
I was at an event. The BC Lions.
Yeah.
Oh man, did they ever kick ass on Saturday? That was so rare. They didn't kick ass on Saturday.
play?
They barely won on Saturday.
Who?
Calgary. You were there. I was wondering if you were going to go to that game.
Well, no, I
That
didn't
was
see no game there.
amazing. Yeah, that's where they played.
Where? On Saturday?
Yeah, McMahon Stadium.
Oh, I wasn't by McMahon Stadium.
Well, that's where they were. But I thought there'd be a lot of hype in Calgary,
Saddle Dome and the Calgary Stampede grounds.
I see.
Yes, they were right below me.
Yeah, I'm sure it's. I mean, I don't think they call it McMahon Stadium anymore. I think they renamed it, but I'm pretty sure that's where they were playing.
There was no crowds there.
What a game!
I know. I was there till about 4 o'clock.
Calgary's got a really good team.
Yeah.
And they had BC scored the first field goal, so up 3 points. It only lasted a minute and a half.
Oh, wow.
And then Calgary scored a touchdown. And then Calgary went up by 17 points at one point and led by 13, 11, all the way through. What a finish. BC was always in it.
Oh, nice.
And then managed to get a touchdown at the end and then a field goal at the end to win it by 1 point, 41-40.
Oh.
Yeah, 81 points scored in a game and only 1 point separated the two. A great game. Both teams, probably deserved to win. But you can't have both teams win, so
Maybe
that was
that's
great.
why I was so quiet.
But the week before here in Vancouver, thanks to my good friend Pat and some of the Edmonton Elks, I got to go to that game and watch BC actually really kick the crap out of Edmonton again.
Well, Edmonton's
it's too bad for Edmonton, but they just they don't match up well against BC at this point, and I think they've lost some confidence or whatever it is.
And they're the bottom team this year, I think.
They've lost big time twice to BC, and the BC quarterback this year, I'm sure he's going to be gone to the NFL before too much longer.
You think
because
so?
We don't get to keep good things here, Glenn.
Come on, he's proud about being Canadian, and there's something about the BC team where they have Canadian, two of them or something that's never happened before. I don't know what it was. Yeah,
he is setting records for a Canadian quarterback. It's incredible, but there's really big money for him waiting down in the States, and he'll probably have to go and get that. And who could blame him?
If he can bring us one Grey Cup and then leave, that's okay.
Two. Let's go for two.
Okay.
And that's negotiation because, we don't.
Okay, let's start at two.
For two, might get to one.
Okay, we do 3 and get 1.5.
So, but anyway, the point of the whole thing is that they had a really good cover band playing outside of the BC Place Stadium.
Yeah.
They were awesome. And they had an enclosed area. So they had taken the foot of Robson Street and they had fenced it all off, except for you can't fence off the whole thing. You got to let the pedestrians go somewhere. So they left that chunk of sidewalk, half a chunk of sidewalk down the one side. And so there's the fence there. There's the bandstand right there. There's a lot of people inside the thing, but where the sidewalk is, you can stand there and watch the band. It was a great venue to watch from. Nice. But there I was, with my joint in my hand. And the reason that they fenced it off in there is so they can sell you beer.
Oh, yes.
So the whole idea of football is all about selling beer. Hockey, too. That's all it's about.
Cannabis events have had that, too.
So, but I suggested to the guy beside me, I said, I wonder what would happen if you walked in there and smoked a joint. And we agreed that probably would not be tolerated.
No.
So I lit my joint up outside the fence and blew it inside. To make the
let
point.
People know if anybody wants to smoke
But,
a joint.
and there was another situation as well where, cannabis is just not part of the deal. They had a little amateur wrestling thing set up, believe it or not, in a parking lot up Hastings Street a little ways.
Okay.
Yeah, Saturday night.
And you couldn't smoke?
Well, yeah, there was no smoking weed inside there. I'm sure that would have been not tolerated. There had security all over.
Pen.
But people drinking and drunk.
Yep.
All
tolerated.
through the venue.
Yeah.
So we got a lot of work to do. Cannabis is the same choice. Cannabis is the best party drug. You want to go out on a Friday night and have some fun.
Yeah.
If you're driving, don't eat edibles.
Yeah.
If you're not used to smoking cannabis, don't drive. But if you're a veteran user, get there anyway that is responsible.
Yeah.
And that's more fun than alcohol. Alcohol is fun for a little while, then it can be depressing, then it can be sickening.
I'm a 41-year user, and whenever anybody offers me edibles and I'm outside my home and I have to drive home, I say no.
Yeah,
Because
exactly.
I know that
I wouldn't use
pot,
edibles
I can drive. Eating edibles and driving? No way.
Yeah. I wouldn't try it.
I'm not going there, no.
Hey,
Okay.
Benito. Benito, I know it's time for you to probably come on. He's getting anxious.
All right.
All right, Glenn. Good to
next
see you,
week.
buddy.
Cheers.
So, come on the show. How do we talk? Hi, Benito. You going to come on the show for a minute there? Getting a little rambunctious. And this is Nina. Nina has been a friend of ours here at the Healing Wave Cannabis Substitution Program for probably just about the full 2 years and 2 months since we've been here, right?
Yeah.
We met you really early on into that. I love your bunny.
This is Benito.
Yeah.
I was getting a little
and
anxious there.
Kato really likes Benito.
Yeah.
Sadie couldn't care less, apparently.
Oh my, she's so gorgeous there all the time.
And so on this episode of Animal Farm, we'll be talking about life on the downtown east side with pets. And so we met you. You were living on the downtown east side here, basically, right?
Yeah, with Benito.
With Benito and some other animals as well.
Yes,
It's
pigeon.
not just Benito.
Yeah.
And you were semi-homeless, right? I mean, you were living in shelters with your animals at times, and
Yeah, I was living in a tent at the same time with him, and it was hard, with
right.
not having. He's a bunny, right? He can chew through a tent, no problem. He'll be gone.
So you had what do they call it down here? They call it some sort of housing, displaced housing. I don't know what the word
I
is.
was in and out of a few of
But
them.
yeah, you were having trouble with housing for sure, and you had animals. I mean, how do you end up down here with a bunch of animals, a nice young lady struggling to find even a shelter for the night? Can you give me a little background on your roots and how you ended up down here?
Well, I grew up in foster care, so it really just started there. In and out with the drug using, and then I aged out.
So foster care, was that somewhere close to this area?
No, that was just in every city, always different homes. They were
So you were in
one.
several different foster homes over the course of time. And then you said drug using. So give us an age that we're talking about here where you're in these foster homes and you're using drugs, I would imagine, because they're available there and the other people are using them there.
Yeah, about 11 years old, I went into foster care. My parents did play a bit of a part in that too, so of the drug use, but,
Right.
The people
Because
that
they
were
also
there
had
too.
some issues with drug use
Yes,
as well.
yeah.
And so do you think you were modeling that behavior, or was it just that this is what your peer group was doing and that's what you were going to do? I mean, I guess I should ask you, what's your frame of mind at this time? Are you like totally depressed and scared and in these homes, or are you just, this is life, this is what I'm doing, just having fun like a kid?
At that time, when I first went into foster care, it was really, that was where I was thinking, it was really scary and I didn't know what I was going to do. But once I was in there for a while, I thought, you know what? Fuck
So
it.
by 12, 13, 14,
Yeah.
this is just your life, right?
Yeah, so into it, so normal.
Right. And was it a rebellious attitude, basically? I mean, the other people that were in these foster homes with you, I'm imagining there's other, that's why you're
many.
And are they all well-behaved, well-adjusted, obedient to human beings, or are they people that are looking to get into trouble maybe, or...
Trouble, yeah.
Yeah,
Most of them, some of them, like to keep to themselves, but it's not often that you're going to find that.
So you're, a very young teenager,
You're put into the midst of, most of them I would imagine that are influencing you at this point are older than you.
Yes. All my friends were always so much years older than me.
Right.
And, you know, I was always missing. I was always in and out. I was, you know, they were
So they're getting you to go along with them on different things that they're doing. Or, you know, you're making friends there. Hi, Benito. You can just hop around.
He usually goes and
I'm not sure you have much choice as to what to do other than hop around. And so hopping around, you're hopping around from foster home to foster home. You're introduced to drugs at a very early age. So at 11, what time did you first have your first drug experience, would you say? Was it alcohol? What drug was it?
My first drug ever was meth, before even smoking pot.
Wow. Yeah. So and how old now?
I was like 12, 11 and a half, 12.
So just early on into your foster care
first
experience,
night I went out.
You're doing meth. And so how was that? Was it wonderful and beautiful?
No.
Because I'm told that is what meth is, but it's also horrible and depressing and unable to quit it, and it's going to cost you your job, and it's going to cost you your family, and it's going to cost you a whole bunch of things, right?
It did. I mean, I've never, like, I was addicted to it for 3 years, but I never actually liked it. Right. I never actually liked it, which was the weird thing. I think it was the first thing I was introduced to, and it kind of just started from there. And right. I was with my friends.
Did it do anything for you, or did it just get you high? No, and then you could just do whatever was going on and...
Kept me up, and I was homeless at the time.
So 3 years of doing meth, and then during that time, other drugs as well?
Yeah, many different drugs. That's when I got into opiates, about when I was 15.
So when you're getting into opiates, is this through prescription, or is it through other people getting you? In what form were you getting the opioids?
To be honest, it started.
I only want honesty. That's part of the show.
My family. My first person who gave it to me was my somebody from my family.
Okay.
Yeah, and then.
And gave it to you for what reason? Were they going to try to calm you down? Were you having issues? Were you in pain for some reason? It was just this is something to do at 12 years of age.
They were doing it, and
let's get the kid high.
I mean, I guess at the time, yeah, and I was really scared at first, but you know what? I thought my whole family's doing it. I have nowhere to live. At this point, what do I have to lose?
Right.
And so at that point...
So you're still seeing your natural family while you're in foster care. You're going to spend some time with them?
Yeah, it was just one-off. I went to go see my sister, and that's when it happened.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Wow. So your sister introduces you to this in a one-off visit, and then how is it you continued to do it from there, if you don't mind me asking?
I actually hated it when I first did it. It just made me so itchy and just so nauseous. But from then on, it became a habit every single day. Where
were you getting it at this point? Like, why would you have it every single day? Was there people that you were asking for it, or was it always there as also available?
My family's dealer. I ended up hanging out with my sister more because she was doing it. And then I kind of became the person who was always buying it for them. And so I got in contact. Yeah.
And on it goes from there.
Yeah, it just kind of,
So then you're also using opioids. Are you using alcohol at this time?
Yeah, everything almost.
Everything almost. Cannabis?
Actually, no, I really didn't get into cannabis until I was about 16, 17 years old. Like, I really, nobody around me smoked, I don't know, and I never...
So there wasn't a lot of cannabis around you. Somehow at 16, 17, you're, introduced to it. But prior to that... you were just doing a whole bunch of other, harsh drugs to yourself.
I was actually scared to try weed for the first time. People made me really scared, like hallucinations and all this stuff. I was like, oh, I don't know about that. And so, but when I tried it, I loved it.
Yeah, that's right for me too. I mean, it was such a big deal that was made out of it. Yes. I don't think I was scared using it or thinking something like that, but I didn't know what to think for sure. Some of my friends had tried it, and they're like, no big deal. And that was kind of my first reaction was, this is no big deal. Why would they be spending all this money, on this stuff? Because this is no big deal. I'd been really ripped on alcohol lots of times before that.
Yeah.
And I'd done a lot of other drugs as well. Not meth, although we did a little bit of speed from time to time, but not opioids. But and I did it later on in my life. But anyway, at that point, as a young person. During that time, I tried some other things, but I really just stuck with cannabis. But much more interested in your journey with, those other substances. The opioids, in what form were you using opioids?
First it started with snorting pills, and then it quickly went on to injecting heroin, fentanyl, benzos, alcohol.
So is this once again through your sister?
So when I aged out of foster care, I kind of made it down here, and that's when it all kind of went downhill more.
Hanging with people that are down here?
Yeah. I was down here for about 2 weeks. I was clean at the time, and I thought, why? You know what? I'm on Hastings now. I'm here in this point.
May as well be a drug addict.
Why? I'm clean. I'm sitting here in the middle, like in a tent with my bunny. I'm like, and my pigeon. I was like, at this point, let's just go at it. So, and that's where it started.
Right. And so, yeah, pills, would these be pills, something you might get at Main and Hastings or something like that from the area? Opioids that you're crushing up and snorting?
Well, when I was about 15, 16, I didn't come down here. I just got, they were blue Oxy 80s.
Oh, okay, so the Oxys.
Yeah.
And where did you get them from?
I got them from just somebody in Maple Ridge. There was someone who always had them.
They're not that hard to get.
Yeah.
And then, of course, coming down here, you end up hanging out with the people down here and finding out how they do things, either through injection or through smoking with the tin foil. And kind of that's how we met you, right?
Yeah.
So now we've come to that point where you're down here. You're not doing too well. You didn't look very good, I'm sorry to say.
No, I didn't.
And you've got these issues, and we can tell you're just like the nicest person that really shouldn't be here. Not that these other people aren't nice people, but you can see the battle scars on most of the people around here. You can see the years of trauma, the years of struggling and ending up down here after, whatever else. You were kind of like different from the other ones that we meet down here for the most part, because you were younger and somewhat innocent with your bunny and things. And so we had the store, and you used to come into the store and talk to us and, and hang around. And then, you've been doing that kind of ever since.
Yeah.
But you got quite the relationship with cannabis going on, and you had that before you came here. I mean, that's kind of, I guess, what attracted you here, right?
I had someone from the shelter, the women's shelter, this awesome person. She's like, you want to come down here? They've got some butter chicken and stuff. Come on, meet everybody. He's like, yeah, let's go. So we came on down, and ever since then, it was just the best thing that I think has happened to me. Getting clean with CPS and the...
CSP.
CSP, I'm so sorry.
That's all right.
Sorry. And it's been so helpful.
We don't know who the CPS is, but maybe they may be getting people clean as well.
No, I think it's something about foster care. Sorry. Never mind. I'm sorry. That was
That's all good. Although we do want the correct recognition here, because government doesn't seem to want to give it to us, so we have to fight for that space, in the society of being something that's recognized. That's why I have the sign out at the RV every day that I think is so important, that all the people driving by get to understand that day after day after day there's a cannabis substitution program going on here, and what it says on our sign is the real safe supply, and it really is. So what was the one? I mean, high dose edibles is what I preach all the time. Did high dose edibles play a role in you being able to?
100%.
Probably a dumb question.
No, 100%, yeah.
So what kind of dosages did you start with? What was it that ended up working for you?
I started really slow. I was a bit nervous, but I started slow. And
do you remember your first experience with the edibles? Had you eaten edibles before coming here?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think so. No, I've never done. Because I only smoked pot, not much, because I never was around too many people. And so the odd time I did, but when I came down here, it was a lot different, and people are a lot more open with it. And, you can walk around smoking a joint.
Yeah.
But the first experience was pretty interesting. I could just feel my body all of a sudden just get so relaxed. And I, first time in a while, had a good sleep.
Right.
And I thought, wow, I want to keep doing this,
Yeah. Do you remember what the dose was by any chance? I know it's a long way back. I don't expect you to remember.
I think it was like a 25 milligram. It was really small. Yeah.
That's probably about what we would have recommended to you if you told us, and you probably did, that you hadn't had an experience with it before. And we always ask those questions. That's our biggest issue here by far at the Cannabis Substitution Program, other than not getting a piece of paper with some public servant's signature on it. The biggest issue is that people that are trying it for the first time, if they get too much, they typically eat too much, and if they eat too much, they don't like the experience, and it's really too bad, because if they find the right dose
as you said, you started to really love it, and you probably figured out what dose works. Did you stay at 25 milligrams, or did that increase? Like, what's a regular average dose for you now if you're eating edibles?
I think about 150.
Right, and how often do you do that?
Honestly, about every day right now. You know, I'm still struggling with methadone, but I'm trying to get off of that now, and the edibles are still been such a big help with that. Right. You know, and especially when it's in like lollipop form or candy form, it just helps it so much better. Cool.
Do you have advice for people like yourself that might find themselves down here in a tent with a bunny and thinking maybe the right thing to do is to join all the rest of the people in what they're doing down here?
I would definitely come on down here. I would honestly come on down here. I think that was the best thing, you know. I came
when
down.
When you say come on down here, you mean to our little
place? Yes, up here, not, you know.
Not down to the downtown east side and get yourself a tent. But if you are finding yourself, you know, in your home wherever you are, and you're thinking about this, cannabis high-dose edibles can do everything meth can do plus a whole bunch more. You know, and I mean on the positive side of things. The problem with meth is that it becomes very hard to quit. And a person is, and correct me if I'm wrong, because I've never really had an addiction to methamphetamines. But I believe that probably if you're using them several times a day, whatever would be the regime of that particular drug, that it keeps you in a state of really not thinking very clearly about what's going on with what you really want for yourself or whether this is good for yourself. That's what I seem to see in what's going on here.
Kind of just forget about all that.
Yeah. And all you can focus on is, you know, like, where's my next my next hit coming from? So I found something. Maybe I can find it on my phone. I don't like to do this, but every once in a while I'll read something. And I did find something the other day that I'm told really does nail it for a lot of people that have had that relationship. And I'd like you to tell me if this is consistent with your experience of it to any degree.
I'd love to hear.
It'll take me just a minute here to find it. It's somewhere down in my feed, a little ways here. So where are you now in your life? So you're not living in a tent with Benito and the pigeon anymore.
Nope.
Where are you?
I moved quite far away, actually, up in Langley. You know, it's a lot different. You can't just really smoke around with the joint and stuff. They kind of look at you weird, but...
Yeah, because you want to walk around the neighborhood with your bong, don't you? And that's true. I'm not making that up. Lots of times I make shit up, but I didn't make that up.
No, I always do. But here you can walk around freely. Down there, everybody really looks at you dirty. But other than that, I love it down there. It gets away from the area. I can come down here every day, see everyone, have a joint, and, you know, go home after and have a place to go home.
So this person wrote this. I remember before I tried meth, I asked people what it was like. They said it's like a burst of energy, a rush that takes your breath. It's the best feeling ever. I don't know how to explain it really, and they were right. But now, if someone were to ever ask me what it's like, I would tell them, well, it's like spending every single penny you ever had on drugs. It's like going days without eating, even though you were starving, but you needed the drugs more. It's like having to lie to every family and friend you ever had. It's like waking up hating yourself from the shame and the guilt. It's like going into withdrawals every 8 hours unless you find more dope to do, and you usually can't. It's like never attending any family event because you're too high or too sick. It's like everyone eventually stopping inviting you to events, or even talking to you. It's like crying yourself to sleep every single night because your children got taken. It's like knowing you have one more chance to get better before your child gets adopted, and you still choose the drug. It's like asking others how your own blood child is doing. It's watching everyone around you succeed while you're crumbling. It's like everything was on your drug dealer's time. If they said 5 hours, you would wait 5 hours in a car. It's like stealing everything worth of value for dope, no matter how sentimental it was to you or someone else. It's like losing so much weight you can't fit into any of your clothes anymore. It's like losing everything you've ever owned in your entire life. It's like nobody believing a word you said, even if it was the truth. It's like being a prisoner inside your own head. It's like contemplating suicide every day. It's like never being scared to die because that's really what you want. It's like trying to shut your brain up for even 5 minutes. It'd be worth that much for just a little bit of peace. It's like seeing your family cry for you to stop, only for you to leave and go get high. because stopping wasn't an option. It wasn't possible. It's like you'd do absolutely anything for more, and you did. It's like everyone hating you no matter where you went because they knew you were a drug addict. It's like missing out on your children, and they'll be grown before you know it. You'd kill for your child and do anything and everything for them, yet you won't be able to get clean for them. And we actually turn out to be the close ones who hurt them the most. It's like overdosing and going to get high right after. It's like walking into rehab at 100 pounds with the clothes on your back and being scared to death. It's like giving your entire life away. So if you're curious like I was, not me, please at least know the truth. Because curiosity can kill the cat, and it's going to kill you too.
Wow.
Some accuracy to that, I'm
Many.
told.
Oh yeah, lots.
Yeah, there's a lot of comments about
Where did you find that?
You know, it just comes through on Facebook. It's a wonderful thing, this thing here.
Yeah,
It feeds you a whole bunch of different interesting things all the time. And I learn a lot from it, but it also brings me to tears sometimes. And we live in an amazing world. And it's a world that you want to be present and conscious in, to be able to enjoy it all, to be able to live your life to the fullest, to be, you know, dealing with whatever people are dealing with, trying to get off these drugs, is not fair to them to not give them an option. That's how we feel about it. I know you feel the same way. So yeah, I thank you for sharing your story with us.
Thank you so much.
It's a great story. You know, you look so much better than you did, but you know that. And your life is so much better now. You've got an actual home to have Benito in, and your other animals. And the other animals that she's going to get soon, because she's constantly accumulating animals. And I guess that's something else I'd ask you about. You know, you were in tough times, and you found yourself homeless, unhappy with the foster situation, doing drugs in ways that weren't helpful to you, living in a tent. But you had a rabbit, and you had a pigeon, and other animals too. I know you did. And always dreaming of other animals.
Even when I was, yeah.
Yeah. How therapeutic is that?
So, my God, he was my, making sure I had to have food for him every day, help me have, keep some...
To care for yourself.
Yeah, have something, I have to do this, I have some things I have to do, I know I have to do that before I can do other stuff. People were very nice, they always wanted pictures with him, so, they'd give me a couple $, that really helped me get food for him.
Right.
And... it was the best. Yeah, I think that's also another thing why I've gotten so far is because I've always had him with me.
Yeah, well, you're very fortunate that you love animals and that you are determined to have animals, and therefore determined to be a human being that can be responsible for those animals. It's quite the beautiful little relationship that you've got going on that certainly helps Benito and the pigeon and whoever else is in your care. Benito's in a baby stroller, by the way, with hay in it, and whatever else Benito would ever want, I'm sure is right there, ready for him at any moment. You're a very good, caring mother, and I'm so happy that we were able to be here for you. You know that the government is now, they're putting us on trial, for one thing, for being here and doing what we're doing. And at the federal level, and that's the federal level too, because in court it's not the VPD prosecutors. This is the federal crown that are zooming in from Ottawa to determine our fate and just how much punishment we deserve for helping people like Nina get an option and a way off of those substances that are so hard to quit, as you heard there. The biggest issue that the common thread through all those things I read, or many of them, was the difficulty in getting through withdrawal. That 8 hours later, now you're jonesing bad, and what are you going to do, right? And I'm not going to ask you about any of that on the downtown east side. This is a terrible place here, but we have people that are stealing things all the time, that are breaking into cars, that are breaking into homes, that are selling their bodies, that are selling their children, that are selling all of their own personal belongings that have ever meant anything to them. We see this all the time down here. And the reason is not because they love the drug so much. As you said, you really didn't even like it.
Yeah.
But because they can't quit without the severe pain of withdrawal. And that is such agony that would be your only focus. That is their only focus when they're going through that, is how to get more of that drug that will stop that pain. And that's why we need to be here. That's why this option needs to be here. It's a way out for people. And like I say, thank you so much for sharing that it helped you get out. And, we'll see you tomorrow. I think we're going to bring you in from Langley early to be in the courtroom with us tomorrow. And we hope we have a whole bunch of other people there as well. So,
I can't wait. We'll put up a good fight.
Thank you very much. Well, we're not fighting tomorrow probably. We're just appearing.
Yeah.
And then it'll be adjourned. And then we'll have another tense time period of having to organize lawyers or pleas or whatever it is they're going to force us to do. Such a criminal misuse of public funds going on here. It is really horrible. And especially when we've just witnessed your story and how profoundly valuable it was to have the high-dose edibles and our service of trying to help people get off those substances here. Without it, do you have any doubt that you would still be here struggling on the downtown east side with substances?
100%. I honestly, I can't think of it another way.
Yeah.
I don't know where else I would be at that point, you know?
Yeah.
I am so lucky and thankful that I stumbled up upon here and that you guys were so close and I never even knew, you know? And
yeah. Well, I think we gave you some hope and you turned that hope into reality. And I'm thrilled for you. And I like I'd say again, thank you very much for coming on and, you know, showing an example of a human being that can be on that path to the downtown east side and all the problems here, and they can get off that path if there's the options there available to help them get off that path. So I hope you're watching Health Canada. That's all I can say. Thank you, Nina. Thank you very much. I'm going to bring on one more guest here for a moment, I think. Am I? An old friend of the show, been around for a long time here. Probably one of our best friends on the show, and have been helping out with so much down here on the downtown east side. Landlord, I don't have the rent, but I've got some things here.
Oh, hey! Happy anniversary today!
Well, it is the third anniversary of the start of the show. Yeah.
Wow! Right on.
So you were on the early shows and middle shows and recent shows and all those things. Do you want to try any of this stuff? You want to help me?
Well, I'm going to try that cake over there in a while.
Well, you can try that too. Yeah, that you can have. But you know, you do edibles sometimes, right?
Yeah.
So I already had. I already farmed one out to another friend of mine. And what do you want? I got this stuff. Those are seeds. That's that. This is that. I got this cookie here.
Oh yeah.
That's number 3. Let's see a number on this one.
It's sure warm out there today.
Yeah, another hot day.
I just saw a rabbit go by. Is that Bugs Bunny or related?
Inside, yeah, that makes sense. Inside.
Okay.
Then there's this one here. How do you say it? Polriotes?
Wow.
Forgive me for not pronouncing the name correctly, perhaps. But we have that. We have the honey oil crisp edible popcorn. We've got I think there's one more here too. We've got edibles number 4, which that doesn't tell us anything, and we've got edible number 3. So you can pick one of those and you can test it for me. I'm just counting on you to give me a proper assessment.
Yeah, I just smoked a couple earlier.
I don't mean you have to eat it right now, but sometime before the 26th, right? Probably before the 25th.
So court tomorrow morning.
Court tomorrow morning.
Okay, I want to be there.
Yeah, well,
yeah.
I want you to be there.
I'm going to try a cookie. I like cookies.
Okay, there you go.
Thank you.
I thought you were going to do the eeny, meeny, miny, mo.
No.
But even if you did, you'd probably get the cookie. Because things are meant to be like that sometimes, right?
Right.
So yeah, court tomorrow. Stupid as that is, eh?
Know.
I mean, I feel like submitting a bill every time we go into court to the judge of, oh, by the way, Your Honor, just in case you want to keep track of this, that guy's time, that person's time, that person's time, this person's time, the lights that are on in the courthouse here, your time, all these things, I've added it all up, and it's about probably $1,000 a minute to stand in front of you, sir. You know, just want you to know that, because, you know, it's my money you're spending. It's our money. It's the landlord's money. It's why I can't pay rent.
Yeah, no, No, but besides that, yeah.
I gotta smoke something now. Let's
smoke a joint. You got a joint here.
I got a joint there. I had 2 joints there. Why do I only have one? Oh, maybe I smoked the other. I don't think I did. Oh, he did. Oh man. No. I got plenty. I do not lack for cannabinoids.
Yeah, I lack a bit. My hands are slowly healing because I messed up a while back. The doctor says don't lift nothing over 10 pounds. So these right here is still numb, but it's starting to get feeling back. I lifted an air conditioner. That was my stupid pride, my own. I could do this. Yeah, but
you got to listen to your doctor. You know?
I know,
unless
right?
he's telling you can't smoke weed.
I gotta do a checkup at the hospital tomorrow. But yeah, I see in the community down, and there's people selling flower, which is nice to see them outside in the weekday.
Yeah, Thornton Park, pretty much any day you can go down there, and there's at least a couple of vendors. That is really awesome to see.
I like
and some really good prices on stuff as well.
I want to go to my land next year and take 60 people up and be able to grow up on a weekend. If the Huddy Rights can put a barn up on a weekend, why can't I put up a grow up on a weekend?
You bring the 60 right people, and you have management that will make sure you got your materials where they need to be when you need to have them there.
Yeah, we have a mill up there.
Then you can get her done.
We have a mill.
I love those group efforts on building stuff like that.
And we have free hydroelectricity, so I don't have to pay for it.
How is that? Is that through BC Hydro, or is that you have your own dam?
No. We have 24 substations between Lillooet and Harrison.
So when you say we do,
our people from
really,
our land,
wow.
And we produce electricity and sell it to BC Hydro.
Right on. And I guess you also use it for many of the communities along the way.
Yeah. So
right on.
Plug your cell phone in. Thank you for putting money in my bank account. Sorry, that's the landlord collecting it a different way.
You gotta collect it every way you can, you know.
No.
But be a good landlord.
I try to be. I
was having a conversation earlier today about a business model where people are paid and where the owners make more, and there's usually ownership, management, employees, and someone was taking some issue like that and said that Jesus Christ would take issue with that because he threw the money changers out of the temple. Well, I said that's a little bit different thing there. Besides, that's not necessarily a statement of his on the capitalist system, on the business system. I think that if you wanted Jesus' take on it, it's okay for commerce. It's okay for somebody providing a service to be compensated for that service. But, ethics would come into play. You don't want to gouge people, and you want to be fair and nice. And, if you treat your customers and your employees well, then, you should make money. That's what I think anyway. But what do I know?
In our way, we'd say too many chiefs, not enough Indians.
That can be a problem. That's what I say. If you get the right 60 people, you get 60 supervisors up there, you might have some
lined
trouble.
Up already.
Like I'm a supervisor, but
yeah,
not too many supervisors. At the same time on the same site. Maybe I don't know.
So BC Bud Day was a good event.
It's a good event, yeah.
Cannabis Day,
and
I'd like to see a global march next year. I'd like to see it. But,
because it is still such a global issue, eh?
Yeah, because there's the amendments. Not everything's clear, and you still see
they're still executing people for
city
cannabis.
Police busting down doors. Hey man, do I come and bust down your teepee? But yeah.
Well, some of these countries are simply absolutely barbaric. The basketball star Brittany, I don't know her last name properly, so I won't say it. In Russia, they're found with a vape pen. And 10 years in prison. Or was it 9?
Wow.
Something like that. In a Russian prison. What
I
the
mean,
hell?
come on, folks. It's a harmless flower. Quit living in the 60s.
Is it ever harmless?
I still see that stupid commercial of the government. This is your brain on drugs, and they throw an egg in a frying pan. Like, give me a break.
Well, this is what we've been trying to demonstrate for so long, is that you can smoke so much cannabis, and it is not going to melt your brain. I mean, that's been the point, I think, in lots of what we did at 420 and other events was, massive amounts of cannabis being smoked. Let's set up a smoke cloud that Ottawa can see. Let's roll up a great big fatty for 420. Let's smoke all day long. Let's also have a bunch of edibles. Let's use the concentrates. We have been demonstrating our community for so long that the reefer madness of, cannabis is going to melt your brain. It's going to make you stupid. You'll be forgetful. You'll be lazy.
Actually, that's not true. Because
none of that's just true. We proved it.
Age 12, I started smoking when I was young, living on the streets.
Right.
But I still attended high school.
Right.
I was smoking weed, selling hash to keep surviving, living under the Georgia Street Viaduct.
Yeah. We talked about that last week.
1976 to 82, yeah. But yeah.
Yeah, and I was going to school from 15 on. I was smoking cannabis every day.
Yeah,
and back in those days, we were trying to smoke as much as we could too. I mean,
keeps me calm. I feel
and
pretty
all the rest
relaxed.
of it, honey oil.
It takes my pain away.
I passed with really good grades all the time.
I only made grade 11 and a half. Then I went to New York, and then I went to Hawaii when I was 18. So.
But I'm 65 now, and I go to visit my mom. Now, my mom doesn't have enough of a memory to really understand anything of what's going on anymore. But I was thinking about it on Sunday when I was out with her, and we were having really good visits with her, driving around in the car, listening to music. But, here I am 65 years old, and she was so concerned back when I was a teenager that I was going to start smoking weed. Oh my goodness, now you're going to be just a derelict drug addict and stupid, retarded person that can't do anything because you ruined your brain, And here I am, for the last 20 years or more, I've been a cannabis activist, which means I'm in a community where all kinds of cannabis is foisted on you all the time. I remember early on talking to Dan and saying, oh man, Dan, look where we are. Look at the people we're hanging with and the parties we're going to and what's going on here. What are we going to do? Should we try to hold back and minimize our cannabis consumption, or do we need to build a tolerance here? And he said, well, we should build a tolerance, Dad. So we did do that. And I did, and I was a heavyweight smoker for a long, long time, for most of my years. Now I'm a lightweight. It doesn't take much, and I don't even eat edibles, and I don't do concentrates anymore.
Well, you're missing out. No, I'm just kidding.
I've had a lot, and that's the point. Is I'm not brain dead. I have a fairly good memory. I've done 151 cannabis shows here, THC shows, over the last 3 years, and I don't think I missed more than one a year. So. Mom and Grandma and Auntie Barbie and Dad and, Pastor Bush and the school teachers and the cops along the way and all those other people who said, watch out, young man, you're on a bad path there with smoking that reefer. I've proved them wrong. And what can I say? And not just me. It turns out that most of our high-functioning human beings on this planet are using cannabis and have as part of their regimen. Oh, hey, Benito.
Sorry, buddy.
Oh, so I guess you can't see Benito on the floor.
Oh.
I'd pick him up, but...
He's running around there.
Maybe Nina will give him back up to me and I can hold him.
I see a rabbit. I think of Easter. Uh-huh.
I had a rabbit at the football game the other night there, running around the field, a jackrabbit in Calgary. And they were trying to catch it. A couple of guys in particular were just running as hard as they could to try to catch it. Well, that didn't work. Hi, Benito.
Careful, he might.
Oh, hi, Benito. How are you? Great to see you, buddy. Yeah.
Hey, change the subject. Hey, my pictures went up on the canvas wall of history, eh?
Oh, yeah?
They put 2 pictures of me up there.
Nice. Oh, Benito. It's okay, buddy. It's okay. You want to go back? Okay.
Okay.
There you go.
He's a big rabbit.
Yeah, he eats a lot.
Hey, how you doing there, buddy?
He's my little guard bunny.
Wow.
Yeah, that is not your average bunny.
I know you, yeah. You're one
somewhat
big,
above average bunny.
Yeah.
Benito, you're a fine man. I can see that.
Oh,
handsome boy.
He's sniffing the weed.
I know he was jumping in the basket.
So anyway, what else is going on?
Not much. Still enjoying.
Did you get a piece of cake?
I'm gonna grab one in a minute. Yeah.
Where did it go? The cake?
Yeah.
Okay, well.
Don't forget the 30th. Hopefully after your show, we'll
have a little bit of a barbecue. Sure.
Come to my rooftop.
Sounds like a plan.
And Neil can come too. Bring his camera. We got pot TV on the rooftop, eh? I got canopies up there.
Nice. I've seen your barbecue up there.
Yeah.
Got a beautiful view.
Yeah.
It's very nice.
Oh, life is good. Hanging in there. I guess I can't say I can't wait till 420 again.
It's a long ways off.
Yeah.
And a whole winter to go through. I almost wish there was other events, but I can't wrap my brain around an event for like Halloween or something, that's outdoors in this climate.
Actually, I did it last year.
Yeah, you might get lucky. You might have a decent day, and there are going to be people at Thornton Park that are doing that. Whatever that is that they're doing, they'll probably dress in some sort of costume while they're selling weed. I have no idea.
Actually, I might go down and sell some hot dogs.
There you go.
On Thornton
Park. I mean, if a bunch of people just showed up and decided to all vend together, that could be a thing.
Yeah.
That could be a grassroots movement of people that just have a similar idea in mind, which is let's continue to make cannabis available to people and hot dogs. Because if you're consuming cannabis, you want a hot dog.
Yeah.
That's how that works.
Yeah, no. Again, congratulations. 150 shows now?
150 shows, yeah.
150, wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Who'd have thunk it, eh?
Oh, no. I just
keep
saying a prayer that one day the government will okay it so you can open up your shop.
Well, I just hope one day I can change formats and I don't have to repeat myself over and over and over and over again.
Yeah.
I don't mind showing the corruption of the government as long as the government is corrupt and that needs to be exposed. But I wish they weren't so corrupt, and I wish we could get over this and that, they could just do the right thing and allow low barrier access to cannabis, and we'll see where that leads. That's all I can do. I can't deal with too much other.
Can't we elect a new government that supports us?
Yeah, well, that's the illusion.
They say
that's
things,
the illusion.
But do the other. Yeah, I know. The government's done that for decades and get away with it.
That's what it's all about. I mean, lying and politicians are hand in hand and always have been. There's very few people. I mean, if you think what is a liar, you think of a politician. It just is what it is. It's unfortunate, but that is what it is. That's the reputation that they have. I'd like to see them change that. I'd like to have truth in government. I'd like to have transparency in government. And I'd like to have governments be servants of us that recognize what their role is and not get in bed with these corporations and not think that they're authorities over us and all the rest that's going on with this. It's time we restructured our democracy in a way that makes sense for the people. That's what needs to happen. So it's not a matter so much of voting out or voting in somebody. It's a matter of deciding as people somehow that we want to change the very structure of government so that they are more like public servants, that they're limited in what they can do. They should never in the future ever be able to make a plant illegal and make it a criminal offense for a citizen to have possession of some flowers off the top of a plant. I mean, that should just never be illegal ever. I don't even care if that plant's $1 million plant and you stole the flower tops off it. That's ludicrous as well. But, this has been so wrong that this needs to be an example for future generations about governments shouldn't have the power to do this. They shouldn't be allowed to make a law against a plant. There should be some department of reasonableness that gets to assess every proposed law and make sure that it's ethical with respect to us being the masters, them being the servants, us having the rights to do anything we want to do or don't want to do unless we're harming somebody else in significant ways with penalties and interventions based on how much harm is being done and all those things that are reasonable. That's what we don't have going on here. We've got a government that thinks that they can make this plant hard to get. They can make it a criminal offense to grow more than 4 plants. They can make it a criminal offense for you to trade with anybody else and sell some to make a little money to help feed your kids or whatever you needed the money for. The government that thinks that they can do that is way out of control. It should never be allowed. And all of this whole attempted prohibition and annihilation of the cannabis plant that's been going on for just about a full 100 years here in Canada needs to be apologized for. It needs to be completely stopped. And the whole idea of government needs to be really rethought with respect to what a public servant is, what their role is supposed to be, that they need to be limited, transparent, accountable, and recognize that their big job is to protect us from the greedy, corrupt corporations that would enslave us and force us to produce and consume in ways that make them rich and that do not enrich us. And to be able to get to our public servants and get them using the criminal law against people who simply want to have the cannabis plant in whatever way they want to have it, that's corruption. That needs to stop. And I guess that's what we're doing here. I always thought the theme of the show was the journey and the quest for a low barrier access cannabis store. But apparently we're moving into a new phase where the whole thing is about just how corrupt is this government, how naked is the emperor, and what should we be shoving up that prone butt of his and kicking him right the hell out of office. So
is this a normal cake or infused?
It's just normal.
Oh, okay.
It's infused with love, as all cakes are. Hey, buddy. So, anyway, that all being said, I am going to repeat myself again, and I am going to talk just for a moment about what the CSP is and how we got to where we're all. I'll try to be brief, but this is the fight that we're in right now, and we're really struggling for our lives right now. We have a court appearance tomorrow where we are being taken through the court system in an attempt so far to penalize us for our efforts to address this public health emergency that is the opioid crisis that has killed tens of thousands of people here just in Canada. The new numbers today are sickening as well, not abating at all, and they would be abating if the government would allow us to proliferate the neighborhood with low barrier access to high dose cannabis edibles. And if that was available easy for people, then you would watch a whole bunch of people transition off. You'd watch a whole bunch of people telling their stories to other people, and they'd be transitioning off. And we could have a much better world within a very short period of time should there be proper, easy access, low barrier access to cannabis. This all started, as I said, as a quest for a low barrier access cannabis store. With the original idea, the original strategy would be to just give away cannabis high-dose edibles to people on the downtown east side in a structured fashion that we could track and get data from and prove that this works. And in that effort, we should be able to get governments on board, get pieces of paper with signatures on it, and have a storefront, and then have other storefronts, and other chapters and other stores. And that would really properly address this program from the cannabis side as best we can. It's not an overall complete solution for everybody, but it is a solution for many people. And the cannabis option needs to be a part of the equation here, and it would make a huge difference in the situation with all of these people continuing to die at alarming rates from this poison drug supply of opioids and other hard drugs. So we started handing out cannabis to prove that point back 5.5 years ago in a relationship with Van Du. After getting all of the different levels of government and all the other harm reduction outlets on board with what we were doing, or at least understanding what we were doing, we had great success doing that. So much so that the City of Vancouver passed a motion, 100% unanimous, to support low barrier access to cannabis in a store type setting. The meeting with the city resulted in us opening a store in good faith that would happen, and this was it. But the federal government needed to give us a license first at that point before the municipal government would. And so we applied to the federal government, and that's coming up on 2 years now that we've been waiting for them to give us some sort of approval or support, or even talk to us about how we could overcome the issues that they were having with giving us a license because of its conflicts with the government stores, the Cannabis Act, and overall the Trudeau cartel. So none of that's happened. They have been criminally delinquent in their lack of support for us during this time. It's resulted in numerous deaths that are difficult to track, because we just know that there's a whole bunch of people that have not been able to be helped by us because of our handcuffed by the government into a small RV at this point and not having easy access throughout the neighborhood and other neighborhoods. So, yeah, when we couldn't get the license from the city because the government wouldn't give us the one on their end, then we had to move into an RV, but we're still here. We're still parked out front. We're still renting the store space because that's part of our application. We never thought it would be going on 2 years before we got some approval from the government. Never thought that for a moment. But it's been a ridiculous spectacle of corruption unfolding all the way through this. And it gets even worse when the VPD decide that they should be, just being good little Canadians and stop us from helping out the neighborhood with cheap cannabis. and they raid us, and now they're taking us through the courts. So all of this is crazy, but here's where we are, and we've never stopped. We've never missed a day. In the Saturdays that we were at Vandu, then the Thursdays and the Sundays that we were at Vandu, and then 6 days a week for most of the year and a half here on the block, and now 7 days a week for the last several months. We've never missed a day, even with the 2 raids that we've had, even with all sorts of things that have happened. The staff has endured incredible heat. They've endured nasty cold snaps, the cramped conditions of an RV, all simply because of negligence on the part of the federal government to even come and find out and investigate whether or not this program is of value. Because if they did that, they would have no ability to deny us at all. But they don't come here. They stay in Ottawa. They read figures. They don't watch video. They don't properly assess applications to try to approve them. They try their very best and do not approve anything that's going to go against the masters who are in control of this ridiculous form of legalization that has the prices of cannabis up way higher than they were during Prohibition, complete with a whole bunch of other restrictions. And this is what they want to give us. So here we are. We'll go visit the RV for a few minutes and just see what's going on out there. Don't forget your cookie, landlord.
Yeah, thank you.
I guess I'll... So the weekly THC weather report from downtown Vancouver is sunny and warm. Hardly a cloud to be seen anywhere in the sky, and it's been very warm this past week, and it's due to continue for a few more days anyway. Warm by our standards anyway. This isn't too bad. When there's a breeze coming up here, it's quite nice, in fact. But when it's hot and there's no breeze, boy, it's very, very difficult. So what should we do? You want to go to the back? Say hi to Jen. She's hiding in there. How's it going, dare I ask?
Very, very hot.
Very hot in there. Yeah, I found the same thing. So we have our court date poster there. We have our use cannabis as a safe supply sign out, as we always do. Getting a little bit ratty there. And we have the back door where if you're not the right way, someone will come and answer, and they may be very small or they may be very big. It's a surprise every time. You never really know what you're going to get here at the CSP, but some way or another, 7 days a week, 8 hours a day, someone's going to answer the door. Well, that's not true because Mondays we're closed at the CSP. But during those other 6 days, what do they get when they get here, George?
Well, right now they've got their choice of 2 different types of gummies that we have, and we have 3 different types of cookies.
Is there a tray of any sort? Can you give us a visual?
Well, it's not much of a visual because I've been trying to keep everything cool because the gummies are melting into giant puddles of goo, and
I see. So they're in with ice right now.
The cookies are sweating, and yeah.
So suffice to say, we've got gummies from Green Wilderness and Gorilla Ganja and other places as well. And we have
everything's under ice. Like you gotta keep it frozen or melting.
And we get stuff from a whole bunch of different places, from Colleen, from somewhere in Netherland. Oh boy, so many Mad Hatter gummies we have. We have
Pepper dropped off.
Joe Pepper's dropping stuff off all the time to us.
Got fresh cookies this morning. So
yeah, we had Canadian Lumber that was donating papers to us. We had a whole bunch of people that make this work, and it's really the donators that make it work better than anybody else. And the way that it works here, of course, is for people who don't know, it's not of course, but the way it works is people that are members, there's over 250 of those, they can come every 4 days and they can get 420 milligrams of their choice of the variety of different things that we have here. So that's what the CSP is all about, and that's what we need to keep doing for people, because we've been doing it for all this time. These people that are members have been members for years. They rely on us in ways that are, you know, so profound that we feel a real responsibility to be able to continue to help them. We got them to where they are. We want to keep on helping them. The government should be helping us help them. That's kind of the point. So let's go around and spend a minute inside. You got a coat on, take it off, because I'm warning you, it's warm in there. So yeah, it's warm in here. It's if you have any undercooked cookies, you just leave them out on the dash for a little while, and the eggs, you know, are done, you know, soft boiled pretty quickly here. But for a human being to be stuck in here just because the government won't allow us into an air-conditioned shop for reasons that are all about not saving people's lives but making a whole bunch of money, that's got to be the biggest story that's going on here. I keep repeating it week after week. But it really is, you know, how can this be happening? I mean, I don't think the people really understand just the dynamics of what's going on here. That we have been proving for 5.5 years, for over half a decade, completely scientific researchers, studies, and all the science continuing to back up what we're doing for all of this time. And yet we are still not getting approved by government. Your guess is as good as mine as to why. Is it just greed? Is it negligence? They just don't get it? Do they not like these people and they're quite happy to have them dead? Are they purposely trying to kill them off? There's a whole range of different possibilities as to why it is that we're in the position that we're in right now. But the fact that we're in this position at all, for whatever of those reasons it is, that's the biggest news that I can imagine. That is the story that needs to be told. And that is the thing that really needs to be sorted out in our society. That public servants should never have the ability to do what they've been doing here with us. That, you know, when corruption is as obvious as this is, it's really time to have a sit down and a rethink of how we got here and where we're at and where we want to go. Because I don't think we want to go the direction that we're going right now. Because that's going to be in an increasingly nasty, dystopian dictatorship of some sort down the road. If we can't get the freedoms that we deserve as people and the right to just have access to low barrier cannabis. If we can't get even that, then I am very scared for the generations to come. By now we should have had this. I never thought I'd have to donate these last 20 some years of my life to trying to get this done. When I first recognized the problem and thought, you know, this needs to be solved and here's all the answers, here's the truth, I never thought it would take more than 10 years. That's what I said at the time. And here I am, man, eating my words. It's been twice that time and more, and we're not there yet. And maybe we will never get there. I don't really know what the future holds for us as people. But I really hope it involves a world with actual public servants who have a mandate to protect us from corporate greed, that are limited in their powers, transparent in their actions, and accountable for when they serve the interests of other than us, the public. I really hope we can get that someday. I don't know how to get it, or I'd tell you right now and we'd all just go and get it. But somehow, some way, in the years to come, if enough people try to figure out how to get that, limited, accountable, transparent public servants, then, you know, maybe we will arrive there one day and have a good world where government is in its place, protecting us from the corporations who are kept in their place. And our place is as sovereign beings, captains of our own ships and our own destiny, living a life of fulfillment, of generosity, of love and community, because that's what we as humans could have if we didn't have all this corruption going on and all of this greed and powerful forces wanting to enslave us into producing and consuming for them. I don't know any other way to say it. But, you know, thinking and being in a world where any regulation can be put on anything at any time that the government has the whim to do, and that they think that they can impose penalties like they are with Ted Smith of $6.5 million for running a medical dispensary, and there's no checks on that, and they get to get away with that. If that's our future, and that's what this is all going to be about for the rest of the future, then I'm not thinking the children are in very good shape, and I'm pretty worried about that, and I'm not sure what else we can do about it. But right now, I think what we can do about it is all join together, bring whatever we have to the table, and let's all work on this problem of a government that's out of control, that is not limited in their powers, not accountable for what they do. And as far as transparency goes, they're off to resorts on yachts and visiting with billionaires and their lobbyists and all the rest of it, and we only get little tiny glimpses, if any, of what's actually going on there. So there's my rant for the day. Pretty happy I get to do it. Oh, by the way, there are other cannabis substitution programs out there that really need to have support and acknowledgement. The Halifax East Coast Cannabis Substitution Program, doing fabulous work there and have been for over 2 years. A really good group of volunteers, Chris Backer at the helm, a whole bunch of people helping to donate to that thing as well, making that a real reality and a real success as well. Help them out if you can. And William Hicks, who took over from Mary in London, Ontario, when she had to go to Winnipeg. And he's been running the Cannabis Substitution Program there, also needing donations, more so than Chris, I'm sure. And if you're anywhere near London, Ontario, or if you have a way to get William something to help him with his edibles and his donations that he does, I'm sure that I know that would be really, really much appreciated. These programs are what we have left. They are our best hope at this point, is the people that are trying to pressure the government into low barrier access. Us and Ted Smith, and there's a few others, the Compassion Club in Vancouver that's also got an application in. We need to get behind these groups. We need to get behind this process. We need to understand that legalization happens when there's no more penalties for pot, and that easy access to cannabis and easy access to being a cannabis retailer is a part of our reality. Then we can say we got legalization. Then we can see what other positive things might happen in our world. So there you go. Thanks to Cannabis Culture and the platform I get with the show here on Pot TV. Thanks to Anil, my producer, for helping me do this. Thanks to Glenn Wells for coming on and for all these years being there with me for the 420 session, plus a lot more. For all the guests that have been part of the show for the last 3 years, it's been incredible. It's been an incredible run. I'm so thrilled that we are continuing to do this, and the message continues to get out there, and that you people watching get to see for yourselves our journey and get to see in the end what that journey will result in. Will we be squashed by a powerful, corrupt government?
You're welcome.
Will the government stop being so corrupt? Will we get a license to be able to help people get low barrier access? You'll have to tune in to find out. Every week at Tuesday at 4 o'clock, we continue the journey. Thank you for being there. As you go through your life over the course of the next week, do your best to be a good citizen. Do your best to love the people around you. Love yourself, of course. But the most important thing, I say it every week, it couldn't be more true, always, in tough times especially. Have as much fun as you can. See you next week.